Someone asked me, Yasser, you're not a top producer. Why should I listen to you? Right? So the thing is that all the agents, right, they think that, top producer is the best person to coach you for success, right? But let me tell you something that I learned all those years ago. Top producer don't have time. That's the most, not that's the biggest thing, biggest issue they have. And many agents, right, after they become top producer, they see a flood of other agents who want to learn from them. And one of my own agents, his name is Harry, and he was very, very popular. He was all over the news, right? And he was at a time in 2018, especially, he was all over the news. He was featured in, Property Guru. He was featured in 99.co. So all different type of agents wanted to approach him, and what he shared with me, I learned that, top producers, when they become top producers, right, when they get a lot of business, right, they get busy, they want to stay there, so they don't really have time for everyone. And if you want to be a top producer yourself, right, a lot of agents think that you can learn from other top producers, but the first thing that many top producers don't have is time. And the second thing is that their plates are full, their commitments, they're full of commitment. They got a lot of commitment, they got a lot of customers to take care of. That means even less time for you, right? And the third thing is, many top producers, many of them, I'm not saying all, many of them do not know how to teach. So it's one thing to be doing something, and it's totally another to transfer, another thing to transfer that knowledge, that experience, that set of, things, what to do, what you shouldn't do, transfer it to you is totally different thing. So teaching is something that not everyone is good at. All right. And then, so I think I understand the reason why it just asked me this kind of question. All right. So for me personally, it was never about being a top producer. I was so I became an agent because after seeing my aunt make a lot of money, then I decided to become a real estate agent all those years ago. So the thing about me is that I realized after a while that I didn't want to chase, all these awards. I didn't want to chase a lot of, a lot of recognition. After a while, I got the recognition. I mean, to me, it was enough that I had money, and to me, it was enough that I had time to spend on with my mother and my new family. So after I got married, I wanted to be there for my kids, and that it was only possible after I pick and choose. I pick and choose business. After I was very, very specific, I was very careful with my time. So that is something that, I mean, I wasn't busy. I was blindly chasing awards. So it wasn't that much of a big deal for me. So me personally, right now, as a real estate coach, I'm not just about making you a top producer. I'm more than that. I'm about more than that. It's just you want. I'm helping you to get the life that you want. And many top producers, even if they become a top producer, it's not guaranteed that they will have the life that they want. And many of them find themselves working hard and hard and hard, chasing 9 to 5, chasing not really 9 to 5, but chasing all the stress that comes in with success at that level. So you find a lot of top producers, they're very, very busy, they have bigger problems to solve, the problems increase, and it's not an easy life, and it's not something that I was very clear about. It's something that I was very clear about, and I didn't want that, right? So here's a bit of background about me. Why should you listen to me, all right? All those years ago in 2008, yeah, correct, I was a totally broke guy. I was barely out of national service, and I had wasted 2 years, 2.5 years of my life, in MLM, doing, selling some stupid magnetic mattresses to people and spamming them, spamming my friend. So I was all those friends I got, while during my schooling days, right? So I'm a Singaporean. I was born in Singapore, but the thing is that I was shifted we shifted overseas, right? And I had to come back for national service. So between my schooling time and between my national service time, it was roughly about 3 years. And the bad thing about me was that I was a shy guy. I still am a shy guy. And in those days, being shy was something that was very, very bad for me. and it didn't come naturally to me, right? So in 3 years, imagine after schooling, after finish my national service, 3 years in professional capacity, I didn't have enough time. I didn't want to study, so I just wanted to make more money. I just wanted to help my mother because at the time she was the sole breadwinner, and I was the elder son, and I wanted to provide for her. I wanted to have an easy life, right? So that's what I wanted at the time. And I saw my aunt selling a lot of houses, making a lot of money. So I that's why I decided to join real estate in the first place. And the problem was that because I was shy early on, I mentioned that I was totally shy, right? I didn't have enough contact. I didn't know enough people who would sell or buy real estate. And what happened was I ended up I didn't have any income, right? And I didn't have any backup and anything to back up on. So here I was a realtor with zero experience and a shy personality, and I was struggling, right? And what happened is that I was depending on my mother, and I felt failure. I felt like a failure. I felt like I was not succeeding at being a filial son, and I was depending on for money. I was depending on my mom for transport, and after that, while all this was happening, I tried to, I was really close to giving up. So after a while, 8 months, 8 long months, I didn't earn anything. So that's where one night in my mother's kitchen, I stumbled across Dan Kennedy, and he taught a way of, getting clients, which was something that, as a shy person, it worked for me. And I was very curious, so I decided to apply his advice. And then I got flooded with, 1,943 leads. And that was the time I realized that, as a shy agent, reverse prospecting is something that works for me. And I was very, I mean, that was the first time I had more business than I could, handle on my own. And I was beating the more extrovert, the more outgoing agents at their own game. And so after that, I realized that, reverse prospecting was the key, and the key was actually giving the prospect what they want. And then I came up with a new plan. After that, my plan was very simple. I just wanted to come up with more and more and more offers, give out those offers to the public, the buyers and sellers, right? And then in exchange for the name and mobile and email, I would get my team member, because I had access business, right? I would pass those leads to my team members, and they will follow up with them. But the thing is that, while I was doing that, I realized it was a lot of headache. So to create simple offer, it took me a long time. Even though I knew programming, I was always good with computer. Naturally, I have always been good with computer. But at the time, even though I'm good with computer, I would spend, 4 to 5 weeks, creating simple websites, landing pages with offers and all that. And it took so much of my time away. And, my business suffered in a way that I couldn't be there for my customers to give them customer service, right? And that was why it was a big struggle for me. So what happened is that I decided to do something about it, and I went out and outsourced the thing to some of the freelancers out there, and I wasted a lot of money, wasted a lot of time, $50,000 over 8 months time. And then after we switch on the thing, and it was a clunky software, it was still slow, it didn't really get me what I wanted, right? I wanted to automate, I wanted easy way to make my life easy. I mean, that's natural, everybody wants to do that, right? So while I was struggling with that, I also realized that my part-timers, my agents, my downline, they were I was all the while I was passing them leads, right? But I realized that they were picking and choosing only the best prospect, and the best prospect, those who were able to close them on the spot or as soon as possible. And those prospects were maybe like maybe only about 30%, and the 70% of the leads they were wasting, and that was wasted money for me. And I was very frustrated, very angry, and not to mention that I was already wasting money on $50,000 of my own money on a software that barely worked, and my clients were not happy with me, and my downloads were giving me headache. And I was so angry, I was so frustrated, that I threw everything away, and I decided to start from scratch. I Because at the time I also bought the E-Myth by Michael Gerber, and after I wanted to apply his learning, I wanted to use his concept and I wanted to work on my business rather than inside my business, busy, 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 but not enjoying the life, right? So after that, I came up with a plan, and then I set up. I learned from other industries. I went out there. I traveled to US. I traveled. I listened to Dan Kennedy student, and I looked at how they did in real estate in overseas, in markets like in UK, for example, in Australia, for example, and I realized that the way they do things, and I tried to model that. And when I came back, I set up that, and after that, it was that was the time that I created agent leads. And after I created agent leads, it was easy. It was much much better for me, for my agent, and I started making my agent lead software platform available for my agent, and we managed to close $113 million worth of commission, and that was totally amazing. And we were changing a lot of agents' careers because of that. And here's something amazing that happened, right? Because of agent leads, I was able to lead a better life. I was able to get my mother, give her a holiday. I was able to get her retired, and I was able to spend more time with my wife, and I was able to be there for my kids. So this is my story, and this is why you should listen to me. All right, and I'm always coming up with new contents, new videos, new blog posts every single day, and there's a lot of value over there, and I'm sure that you find a lot of value there, and I want you to check it out. All right, I'll see you in my next video.